Hello students, Zinali Shah welcomes you on behalf of Saraswat International Academy. Today we will begin with the next part of our chapter Human Reproduction. So today we will begin with the topic gametogenesis. So we know gametogenesis is a process of formation of gametes. We know the term gameto related to gametes. Genesis is the term related to the formation. So it is made up of two words, gameto and genesis. Gameto related to the gametes, genesis related to the formation. So gametogenesis is the process of formation of the gametes. Now when we talk about the human beings, two gametes are there, the sperms and one is the ovum. And these gametes are produced in the primary sex organs. So sperms are produced in the male testes and ovums are produced in the female ovaries. So gametogenesis, it is a process of formation of gametes, that is sperms and ovum, from primary sex organs, that is testes and ovaries respectively, in all sexually reproducing organism. And the most important process which is required for gametogenesis to occur is the meiosis. So meiotic cell division results in the formation of the gametes. Now here we are talking about the two gametes, one is sperms and another one is ovum. So the process of formation of the sperms, that is called as the spermatogenesis. So spermatogenesis, genesis, formation, spermatospperms. So process of formation of the spermatozoa or the sperm. And where are they produced? They are produced in the seminiferous tubules of the testes. So that process is called as spermatogenesis. So spermatogenesis is the formation of spermatozoa in the seminiferous tubules of the testes. And oogenesis, again genesis is a term related to formation. O, that is related to ova. So formation of the ova into the ovaries, that is called as the oogenesis. So gametogenesis involves two processes, spermatogenesis related to the formation of the sperms in the seminiferous tubules of the testes, and oogenesis which is related to the formation of the ova in the ovaries. Now today we will study in detail the process of spermatogenesis. So how can we define the process of spermatogenesis? So it is the sequence of the events in the seminiferous tubules of the testes that produce the male gametes, which are called as the sperms. So spermatogenesis is a sequence of events occurring in the seminiferous tubules of the testes to produce the male gametes, which are called as the sperms. Now what happens during the process of spermatogenesis? So the primordial germ cells are the initial cells which are formed from the germinal layers of the body. So there are three germinal layers we know, ectoderm, mesoderm and endoderm. So from the germinal layers the germ cells are formed. So initial germ cells are called as the primordial germ cells, which finally will give rise to the sperms. So they migrate to the testes and they become immature germ cells. So first thing, primordial germ cells which are formed from the germinal layers, they migrate to the testes and there they become the immature germ cells, which are called as the sperm mother cells. Sperm mother cells, that is, they give rise to the sperms. These sperm mother cells are also called as the spermatogonia. And where they get attached to the inner surfaces of the seminiferous tubules. So primordial germ cells which are formed, they migrate to the testes and there they get converted into the immature germ cells, which are called as the sperm mother cells or also called as the spermatogonia, and get attached to the inner surface of the seminiferous tubules. Now this spermatogonia which are present on the inner wall of the seminiferous tubule, they undergo mitotic division at puberty. Here a very important students, first division is the mitotic division, and so they continue to grow throughout the life. So spermatogonia at the puberty, they undergo mitotic divisions and their number increases. Now addition of new and new spermatogonia will result in the growth of the testes during the early life. So what happens, students? Whatever spermatogonia are present on the wall of the seminiferous tubules, they undergo the mitotic division at the puberty and then they continue to grow throughout the life. Now, addition of the spermatogonia to the wall of the seminiferous tubules is responsible for the growth of the testes also. Now, what happens here then? The spermatogonia, they migrate among the Sertoli cell towards the central lumen of the seminiferous tubule. Initially, where are spermatogonia located? They are located on the inner wall of the seminiferous tubule. Now, through the Sertoli cell, we know that the wall of the seminiferous tubule, there are two cells. One is the sperm mother cells or germ cells, and another one is the Sertoli cells. So, this spermatogonia, they migrate through the Sertoli cells and then they enter into the lumen, or you can say cavity of the seminiferous tubules. Now, once the person becomes sexually mature, so on sexual maturity, some of the spermatogonia, they stop dividing and they grow in size. How do they grow in size? They accumulate the cytoplasm and become enlarged, and that enlarged cells are called as the primary spermatocytes. And these primary spermatocytes, they are again diploid with 23 pairs of chromosomes, or you can say 46 chromosomes. Very, very important. Certain spermatogonia will stop dividing. When they stop dividing? On reaching the sexual maturity. So, once the persons become sexually mature, some of the spermatogonia, they stop dividing, they grow in size. And how do they grow in size? By accumulation of cytoplasm, and they get enlarged. Such enlarged spermatogonia are called as the primary spermatocytes. These primary spermatocytes, of course, they are diploid with 23 pairs of the chromosomes, or you can say 46 chromosomes. Now, the most important thing is the meiotic division. Now, we know that the process of meiosis is divided into two stages, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. Meiosis 1 is called as the reductional division, where the chromosome numbers reduces to half, whereas meiosis 2 is called as the equational division, because there the chromosomes numbers will be maintained. So, now what happens in the primary spermatocytes? So, some of the primary spermatocytes, they undergo first meiotic division, and this first meiotic division is a reductional division. So, they result in the formation of the two secondary spermatocytes. So, primary spermatocytes, whatever they are formed, they undergo first meiotic division, which is a reductional division, which means there the chromosome number is reduced to half. We know that in primary spermatocytes, how many chromosomes were there? 23 pairs chromosomes were there. Whereas in it, what reaction is taking place? The reductional division is taking place, and due to that, whatever new cells are formed, which are called as the secondary spermatocytes, they have only 23 chromosomes. They do not have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Each cell formed will receive only 23 chromosomes. So, primary spermatocytes, they undergo first meiotic division, which is reductional, to form secondary spermatocytes, which are haploid, whereas the primary spermatocytes, they were diploid. Due to the reductional division, the two secondary spermatocytes which are produced, they are haploid cells with each cell containing 23 chromosomes. Now, this secondary spermatocyte, how many chromosomes does it contain? 23 chromosomes. So, this secondary spermatocyte, it undergoes second meiotic division, which is equational. Equational means now the chromosome number won't change, and it results into the formation of the 4 haploid spermatids. Students, keep in mind, till now sperms are not formed. This results into the formation of spermatids. So secondary spermatocytes, they undergo second meiotic. How many secondary spermatocytes are formed from one primary spermatocyte? 2. So now each of the 2 secondary spermatocyte, it results into the second meiotic division, resulting into the formation of 4 haploid spermatids. One secondary spermatocytes produces 2 spermatids. So we have how many secondary spermatocytes? From one primary spermatocyte, 2. So it results into the formation of the total 4 haploid spermatids. And they will have how many chromosomes? 23 chromosomes. Now, very important students, in the cell divisions producing the secondary spermatocytes and spermatids, the cytoplasmic divisions are not complete. It means primary spermatocyte is forming secondary spermatocyte. Secondary spermatocyte is forming spermatids. So whatever cell division occurs here, at that time the cytoplasmic divisions are not complete. So whatever daughter cells are formed, that is whatever new secondary spermatocytes are formed and whatever spermatids are formed, initially that cells, they remain interconnected with each other because the cytoplasmic divisions are not completed. It means that the karyogamy or the nuclear division immediately is not followed by the cytoplasmic division. It is during the spermiogenesis that the gametes separate from each other. So now what is spermiogenesis? Conversion of the spermatids into sperms. Till now we have only studied that spermatids are formed. Now this spermatids gets converted into sperms by the movement of the organelles within the spermatids, and that process is called as the spermiogenesis. So it is during the process of spermiogenesis that the gametes, they get separated from each other. So the spermatids are transformed into the mature spermatozoa or sperms by the process called as spermiogenesis. Very important students, spermiogenesis is the process of transformation of spermatids into the mature sperm. Now after the spermiogenesis takes place, that is after the spermatids are converted into the sperms, the sperm's head gets embedded into the Sertoli cells and finally they are released into the cavity of the seminiferous tubules by the process of spermiation. So there are again 2 processes, one is spermiation and another one is spermiogenesis. What is spermiogenesis? Transformation of spermatids into sperms. And what is spermiasis? So it is the release of the sperm cells from the Sertoli cells into the cavity of the seminiferous tubules. So that is regarding the process of spermatogenesis. Diagrammatically you can see, so these are the primordial germ cells. I told you they are present in the embryonic conditions and they get converted, they undergo and finally they get converted into the spermatogonial germ cells, are also called as sperm mother cells, or also called as the, what are they called as? They are called as the spermatogonial. So these germ stem cells, they undergo mitotic divisions and form the spermatogonia. Spermatogonia, they undergo mitotic divisions and form the primary spermatocytes at the time of the puberty. Now certain spermatogonia, they undergo basically increase in size and they get converted into primary spermatocyte, which undergoes the first meiotic division. See here, till here all the cells are diploid. Now here the primary spermatocyte is undergoing meiosis 1, which is which type of reaction? Reductional division, and it results into the cells which are haploid. Now this secondary spermatocyte also undergoes meiotic division 2 and it results in the formation of the spermatids. Now these spermatids again are which type of cell? Haploid cell. Now these spermatids, by the cell differentiation, that is due to the movement of the organelles, they gets converted into the which cells they get converted into the sperms, and this process is called as the spermiogenesis. Again, further diagram, here you can properly see the process of the stages of the spermatogenesis. So here these are the various stages. So first stage is called multiplication phase, second is called as growth phase, the last one is called as the maturation phase, and finally is the spermiogenesis. Here chromosome numbers are indicated, which type of cells are there and which type of cell division takes place. So the first cell is the spermatogonium. Now this spermatogonium, they undergoes the mitotic division and go on adding the new and new spermatogonia. So as by the mitotic division new and new spermatogonia are produced, what is that phase called as multiplication phase. Now this added spermatogonia gets responsible for the growth of the testes. Now some of the spermatogonia, they increase in size by accumulating the cytoplasm and they get converted into the primary spermatocyte, and as the size of the cell increases due to the accumulation of the cytoplasm, what is the phase called as growth phase. Now this next two phases are called as the maturation phase, because it is these two phases results into the formation of the sperms. So primary spermatocyte, it undergoes meiotic 1 division and results into the formation of the secondary spermatocytes, and these secondary spermatocytes, they have n number of chromosomes, or you can say they are haploid. So in the first two stages you can see that the chromosome number was diploid, 46 chromosomes in each cell. Now as primary spermatocyte, it undergoes meiotic division, it will have only 23 chromosomes in each cell, and therefore this meiosis division first is which type of division? Reductional division. Now this secondary spermatocyte, it undergoes meiotic division 2, and this meiotic division 2 is which type of division? Equational division, where the chromosome numbers are maintained. So as the chromosome number in secondary spermatocytes is 23, whatever spermatids are formed, they also have the 23 number of chromosomes. Now this spermatids undergoes the spermiogenesis, where the organelles, they move within the spermatids and they result into the formation of the spermatozoa or the sperms. So these are the various phases occurring in the process of spermatogenesis. First phase is the multiplication phase, where the spermatogonium, they undergoes the continuous mitotic division and go on adding the new spermatozoa, which is finally responsible for the growth of the testes. Now some of the spermatogonium that increases in size are called as the primary spermatocyte, and as the size of the cell increases, that phase is called as the growth phase. After that, what happens? The primary spermatocyte, it undergoes first meiotic division, resulting into the formation of the secondary spermatocytes, which are haploid. This secondary spermatocytes results in the meiotic division 2, resulting into the formation of the spermatids. So these two meiotic divisions, that is meiotic division 1 and meiotic division 2, that stage is called as the maturation phase. Finally, the spermatids form, undergo spermiogenesis, resulting into the formation of the sperms. So that was the complete process of the spermatogenesis. Now students, when this spermatogenesis starts, it starts at the age of the puberty. And how it is initiated? Why it occurs at the time of the puberty? So at the time of the puberty, there is the increase in the release of the hormone called as the gonadotropin releasing hormone, and this gonadotropin releasing hormone is secreted by the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is a gland present in the brain region of our body. Now this gonadotropin releasing hormone, it acts on the anterior pituitary gland. That is, this hormone released by the hypothalamus reaches the anterior part of the pituitary gland, and we all know that the anterior pituitary is considered as the master gland of our body, and there, by the activation of the anterior pituitary gland, This anterior pituitary releases two gonadotrophins. So one of the gonadotrophin is called as the follicle stimulating hormone, shortly called as the FSH, and another one is the luteinizing hormone, that is called as the LH. So this is very say gonadotropin releasing hormone and gonadotropin. So there the term is gonado, which is related to gonads. And what do you mean by the gonads? Gonads are nothing but they are the reproductive organs of the body. Which are the main reproductive organs of the body? So in males it is testes and in the females it is the ovaries. So students, that is very important. GnRH, where it is formed or where it is secreted? In the hypothalamus. From hypothalamus, where it reaches? It reaches the anterior pituitary. Now what this anterior pituitary gets? It gets activated, and once it gets activated it releases two hormones. One is LH and another one is FSH. Now this LH and FSH, they act on the testes, and then testes will start the production of the sperms. Now how the LH and FSH works, we will see that. So what is the role of the FSH? So this FSH, that is follicle stimulating hormone, it stimulates the testicular growth, that is it is responsible for the growth of the testes. It also acts on the Sertoli cells, and by activation of the Sertoli cell, this Sertoli cell enhances the production of ABP, that is androgen binding protein, and this androgen binding protein plays the important role in the process of spermiogenesis. So what is the role of the ABP? ABP, it concentrates the testosterone in the seminiferous tubules and aid the process of the spermatogenesis, and finally after spermatogenesis will help in the process of the spermiogenesis. So FSH is responsible for the growth of the testes. It works on the Sertoli cells, which in turn releases androgen binding protein, and this androgen binding protein, it concentrates the testosterone, that is it allows the concentration of the testosterone in the seminiferous tubule, which finally helps in the process of spermatogenesis and in the spermiogenesis. Now next one is the LH. So where LH acts? They acts on the Leydig cells, and we know where are Leydig cells located. So where are they located? They are located into the spaces between the seminiferous tubules, and we know the function of the Leydig cell, that it releases the testosterone. So LH, it acts on the Leydig cells and it stimulates the synthesis and secretion of the androgen. One of the most important androgen is the testosterone, which in turn stimulates the process of the spermatogenesis. So LH, it acts on the Leydig cells, which in turn will secrete and synthesize the testosterone, and this testosterone is responsible for spermatogenesis. So basically spermatogenesis process is completely controlled by the secretion of the hormones. Gonadotropin releasing hormone of the hypothalamus activates the anterior pituitary, which on activation releases luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Out of that, follicle stimulating hormone is responsible for the growth of the testes, as well as it acts on the Sertoli cells, which in turn will release the androgen binding protein and will help in the process of spermiogenesis. How this ABP, that is androgen binding protein, helpful? So this androgen binding protein, it concentrates the testosterone in the seminiferous tubule, that is it releases the concentration, or it increases the concentration or amount of the testosterone in the seminiferous tubule, which finally will be helpful in the process of spermatogenesis. Whereas the luteinizing hormone, it acts on the Leydig cells, and these Leydig cells in turn will synthesize and secrete the androgen. One of the main androgen is testosterone, which in turn will stimulate the process of spermatogenesis. So we can conclude that complete process of spermatogenesis is under the control of the hormones. So here you can see the different stages of the spermatogenesis. See, these are the spermatogonia and these are the Sertoli cells. Now certain spermatogonia are converted into the primary spermatocyte. These primary spermatocytes are converted into the secondary spermatocytes, which in turn are converted into spermatids, and these spermatids are then released into the cavity of the they are converted into the spermatozoa and then released into the cavity of the seminiferous tubule by the process of spermiation. Here also you can see the same thing. These are the spermatogonia, these are the sperm cells, and then the spermatogonium is converted into the primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte is converted into secondary spermatocyte, which in turn is converted into the spermatid, and finally this is converted into the sperms and then released into the cavity of the seminiferous tubules. Now finally the structure of the sperms. So we know that the spermatids are converted into sperms by the process of spermiogenesis. So what is the typical structure of a sperm? So first of all, sperm is a microscopic flagellated motile gamete, and as against that the female gamete, it is non-flagellated and it is non-motile. Now the complete sperm is enveloped by the plasma membrane. So surrounding a complete sperm is a layer of plasma membrane, and this sperm is divided into, or body of the sperm can be divided into 4 regions: head, neck, middle piece and tail. So there are 4 regions in the sperm: head, neck, middle piece and tail. Now the head is again divided into 2 parts. One part is acrosome and another one is a nucleus. So acrosome is a small cap-like pointed structure which is present at the tip of the nucleus, and basically it is formed of the Golgi body which is present in the spermatids. We know that the sperms are produced from the spermatids. So basically that process is called as spermiogenesis. Normally there will be the movement of the organelles within the spermatids which results into the formation of the sperm. So now what the head region of the sperm consists of? So it consists of acrosome and the nucleus. So acrosome basically is a cap-like structure which will be present at the tip portion of the nucleus, and this acrosome is formed of the Golgi body of the spermatids. Now what this acrosome consists of? It consists of the hyaluronidase enzyme, which is a proteolytic enzyme commonly called as the sperm lysine, which helps to penetrate the ovum during the fertilization. Very important student. Acrosome consists of the hyaluronidase enzyme, and this enzyme plays a very important role to penetrate the ovum at the time of the fertilization. When we talk about the nucleus, it is flat as well as the oval shaped. So that is regarding the description of the head part. Now what about the neck part? So the neck part is very short. It is a connecting region between the head and the middle piece. So neck portion is a short portion present between the head and the middle piece. Now what is present in the neck region? So it consists of the proximal centriole towards the nuclear region, which plays the role in the first division of the zygote, whereas the distal centriole, it gives rise to the axial filament of the sperm. So basically the neck portion consists of the 2 centrioles. Out of that, the proximal centriole, it plays the role in the first division of the zygote after fertilization, whereas the distal centriole, it gives rise to the axial filament of the sperm. Now the middle piece. So what middle piece consists of? It possesses mitochondria which is spirally twisted around the axial filament, which is called as the mitochondrial spiral or also called as the Nebenkern. So middle piece, it consists of the mitochondria twisted around the axial filament, and this twisted mitochondria around the axial filament is called as the mitochondrial spiral or also called as the Nebenkern. Now we know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the energy. So this mitochondria, it produces the energy in the form of the ATP, which is very much important for the movement of the sperms. Sperms are motile, and for motility energy is required. This energy will be provided by the middle piece, which consists of the mitochondria. Now the last part of the sperm is the tail. So the tail is the longest part of the sperm, and it is slender and tapering. It is formed of the central axial filament, which is also called as the axoneme, and it is covered by the protoplasmic sheath, or you can say it is covered by the protoplasmic sheath. Now the lashing movement of the tail. Lashing movement is the tail like movement. Animals, you know that the animals that have tails, they move their tail. So that tail like movement of the animals is called as the lashing movement. So the lashing movement of the tail, it moves the sperm towards the forward direction. So that is regarding the tail portion of the sperm. It is the longest part of the sperm. It is slender, that is delicate and tapering. It have the central axial filament, which is also called as the axoneme. Who forms the axial filament? So it is formed by the distal centriole, and it is covered by the protoplasmic sheath. Now the lashing movement of the sperm tail will be helpful to move the sperm in the forward direction. Now normally a human ejaculates about 200 to 300 million of the sperm during the coitus. So during the physical union, normally the male releases about 200 to 300 millions of the sperms. It is estimated that 60% of the sperm must have normal shape, of which at least 40% must show the motility to bring about the normal fertility. So what does it mean? 60% of the sperm should have the normal shape, and out of this 60% of the sperm, at least 40% of the sperm should show the proper motility. Then only that particular person can be considered as the normal fertile person. So that is regarding the structure of the sperm. So here you can see the structure of the sperm. This is the head portion of the sperm. So here there is a cap-like structure which is called as the acrosome. Then there is a oval nucleus. Now this is the neck portion, which consists of the two centrioles. One of the centriole will form this structure is the neck portion, which have the axial filament. Now this axial filament is basically continuous toward the tail portion also, whereas the axial filament in the middle piece gets covered by the mitochondria. So yellow structure is called as the mitochondria. This purple structure is the axial filament. This axial filament completely is surrounded by the plasma membrane in the tail portion. So that is the structure of the sperm. Here also you can see this is the acrosome. You know that the complete sperm is covered by the plasma membrane. This is the nucleus. This is the neck region consisting of the centriole. The distal centriole, it forms the axial filament. So here you can see in the middle portion a thin line is passing. That is called as the axial filament. Now this axial filament of the middle piece gets covered by the mitochondria, and this mitochondria provides the energy for the movement of the sperm, whereas other maximum part of the axial filament is nothing but the tail portion of the sperm. So students, here we come to the end of our today's lecture on the process of the gametogenesis, and here today we have studied the process of spermatogenesis, as well as we have also studied regarding the structure of the sperms. So thank you students.